everyone. Thanks so much for joining the second session today. Before we get started, just a reminder to put any questions you have throughout the session in that Q&A box, and then we'll get to as many of them as we can at the end of the session. And if you want to just chat or, shout out, say hi to anybody, you can put that in the chat box. But I will not keep us anymore, and I'll go ahead and hand it over to Jeff.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Thanks for attending. We're going to talk about meaningful attention, how to evaluate social media ads performance by measuring the impact on eCom sales. Really understanding consumer attention, it's really one of the biggest challenges facing researchers and advertisers as the venues get more different and spread out and diverse. It really is a challenge. And today you have ARF, MRC, IAB, and almost everyone else trying to figure out how to define attention. And sometimes the current metrics that we've been using don't go beyond simple attention. Very simple. I wave my hand like this, I can get your attention. It's not very meaningful. And we think you have to go beyond just attention. So that's what our goal is today, to really identify attention that's more than just simple attention. Briefly, also, I don't know if Bridget mentioned, we'll have a Q&A at the end, and you can type them in the chat box if you want, and we'll get to as many questions as we can at the end. We say that attention is just not enough. The agenda today, brief introduction on iSquare. I'll talk about attention and meaningful attention, the digital landscape and ad business versus traditional media, how that's changed and where it's going, social media and e-commerce changes, and the challenge in measuring. We'll talk about ROI, which is typically the number one thing that people, while they're advertising, want to sell something. And then we'll go to Q&A. iSquare, founded in 1999 in Berlin, Germany, where our headquarters are, where most of the people in the company are. We work with user experience, brand media, and shopper, and we're going to touch mostly today on brand media and shopper. We have over 100 people in the company. We're in 6 different countries. Headquartered in Berlin. We're in London, New York, Hong Kong, Tokyo, and India. I actually launched the U.S. market in 2017 out of New York. And we have groundbreaking software. We have a U.S. patent on this, and it's right now 8 of the top 10 great innovative companies use our technology, and it's a lot more also. We work a lot of partnerships with market research companies and with universities. Goal today is to identify what attention is and how to get it. We think it has to be important, meaningful, has to be focused. It has to be purposeful. The person, whatever the goal is, has to solve that purpose. It needs to be processed deeply, and has to be effective. And effective, we're going to get into that a little bit more. And when we talk from a business perspective, you have short-term impulse shopping, one-time purchases, and then you have long-term. We want to build relationships, and they have long-term goals. Both of those are meaningful to different companies. So go a little deeper. We need to have engagement. As I mentioned, when I move my hand, I can get attention, but there's not an engagement. It's not meaningful. It's not the process of me doing this is not deeply processed. There's not a lot of comprehension, not going to be retained. So we think that it's really important to have meaningful attention, has to have all of these, and we call it effective perception. We really think that in the framework of neurosemiotics, you could say that meaningful attention could really be defined as effective perception. And the perception really is like the foundation to get good insights for your System 1 and System 2 research. System Zero. Our CEO came up with the term System Zero. It's brilliant, and it's really a market research innovation in how ads are tested in their natural environment. When you test in the natural environment, when consumers don't know what's being tested, your results are going to be far more predictive and more reliable than other approaches that have been used in the past. Technology is a big reason we're able to do this now. So we talk about System Zero. It's really how the stimuli is perceived. Instead of just showing something and asking questions, there are many, many biases that come into play. Our whole biographies, our friends, all these things affect how we process whatever we perceive. And when we can perceive something in a natural environment where they don't being tested, our System 1 and System 2 insights are going to be much more reliable. And we really think for it to be meaningful, it has to satisfy a desire. And whether it's attention consciously or unconsciously, that's really what we're trying to achieve. Now we're going to talk briefly about what's going on in our media environment. Depending on how old everyone is who's here, there was a time when there were 3 TV stations, and you had to actually get up and change a station. The world has changed very drastically since then. We'll get into some of those changes. But if you look, 2011, what is that? Almost 13 years ago, the U.S., we're talking about U.S. time spent per day on the digital versus traditional media, was almost double on traditional media. And as you can see, as the internet became more ubiquitous, that, if you can see this graph here, it's very, very dramatic. It was 2017 where the intersection happened. And then you saw a big blip when the lockdown happened, which was quite interesting. A lot of different hypotheses on why that happened. But if you still even look, there was a big drop after the world opened up, but then it went right back to this climbing of basically almost double. It's almost reversed. And this was a study done in the U.S. by Statista, and it came out in July, not too long ago. And based on that, I think next year we'll see it more than double. Just some interesting data on popular websites. Back many years ago, Google search, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, now X. And then you go 20 years later, you see AOL. I'm sorry, this is current and this is the old. AOL dominated Prodigy, and as you can see, they did not innovate, and they almost don't exist anymore over here. And you can see that social media back 20-something years ago was not existent as far as getting attention and getting eyeballs. And there's some of the other interesting changes. ChatGPT surpassed 100 million users in less than 2 months, which is never achieved before. YouTube, less than 20 years ago, uploaded their first video, and now 5 billion videos are watched a day. 5 billion. It's almost one per human. So how can we measure on a more practical level what's meaningful and what matters? Briefly, when we talk about attention, there's a hierarchy of attention. What gets attention? As I show when I move my hand, motion does get attention, and so does novelty. The question is it meaningful? Is it meaningful? Puzzles also get attention. You don't want to make them too hard because it'll frustrate people. The top right is the Volkswagen, Jeep, and then you have CNN. And then the pop-out effect works very, very well to get attention. The question is it meaningful? And then with faces, the brain, the eyes naturally are attracted to ambiguity. When you see a smile or a frown, your brain is processing and decoding it. When it sees something like this, it takes more time. Really important to know. We can tell when we do eye tracking and see how long people look at different faces. Now we talk about meaningful attention. These are real ads, left on Coca-Cola, the right on cigarettes. And it talks about the ideal brain tonic. It's a delightful summer and winter beverage. Specific for headaches, relieves mental, physical exhaustion. The reason it has all these attributes that were actually real because it had cocaine in it. And on the right-hand side, you have all the number of physicians saying how great lucky strike cigarettes are. The reason I'm bringing this up is because there are many experts in the world in many different fields. And sometimes these experts over time prove to be not very accurate. So we always have to question. We always have to not just follow a herd and really question how things are done, why they're done, and what is really the benefit that we're getting from this. So as we learn more about meaningful attention, it can change, and sometimes drastically. And I think these are good. Another one in the medical field, not too long ago, 100-something years ago, leeches were used for healing. And that was done by the doctors and the experts. Obviously, that was not a good idea. So we talk about meaningful attention, adding interest. Attention first, now we have to go to interest. We're going to talk about live and context social media. And when I first saw the technology from iSquare, I was literally blown away. It really was beyond amazing to me because to be able to test an environment, we have the live in context, all the content, ads injected into that platform, and the consumers don't know it's being tested, and you're measuring all this behavior. Because we know You are what you do, not what you say you do. And it's not because people are not being honest. Sometimes we can't say what we're going to do. And that's why measuring behavior in the natural environment is really a way to get to this meaningfulness of what attention we are getting. So we started on social media. Actually, it started 13 years ago with eBay coming to us and saying, we want to test the natural environment. We looked and could not find one. So we put a development team together and created this amazing technology where we pull the live content off the API, inject the ad into third, fourth position. I'll show you some examples. And we started on social media because they don't change as much as some other sites. We added, Netflix, Spotify, TikTok has taken off massively. And we have over 100 other global URLs. We do this on video on demand and many e-commerce sites too. Works on all platforms, browser-based, all ad formats, panel-friendly, fully automated. So just to give you an idea how it looks like, and I'll show you some live examples. It's all through a panel. We're not a panel company. We work in over 60 countries, pretty much any panel in the world. And a link will go to that panelist. Whoever's doing the study decides who's going to get it. You pick the specific people. They'll have some qualifying questions, and then we'll go to a screen like this, mobile, desktop, tablet. You'll now be taken to Facebook. Please look at the page as you would naturally, and after 90 seconds, survey will automatically continue. The 90 seconds is based, that can be anything you want. It's usually based on the length of the ad. They start in a browser. There's no app to download. They don't have to log in. You have the original look and feel because it's natural, it's regular content. They'll hit continue and they'll scroll and do whatever they normally do for as long as we ask them to do it. And we're going to measure, and I'll get to what we measure. It's over 20 behavioral metrics in an environment where they don't know it's being tested. And this is the YouTube, same thing. They can pick any video they want and the pre-roll will run, and they can leave the pre-roll. They can pause it. They can skip it. They can mute it. They can go somewhere else, and we're going to be measuring all that behavior. TikTok, which is probably the fastest growing one right now. And you can be, the respondents can experience vertical full screen ads. It's on mobile only, obviously, images and videos. You have the in-feed, top view, brand takeover, and we're constantly adding things because TikTok is always adding things, especially with the e-commerce that's happening now. Instagram. I'm going to pause the sound. Mobile only, images and videos. You can do multiple ads, support for reels, influencer ads. We do quite a bit of studies on those. And user guidance is something we call, it's basically a forced exposure at the end. Meaningful, actionable insights. Now, these are not all the insights, but we're going to just very simple test an ad on YouTube and Facebook, video ad. So we can see ad visibility. We use the IAB standard, at least 50% of the ad for a half second. So if they scroll too fast, it will not be measured. This was a 60-second ad. Visibility duration, average percent seen. If it's a desktop, did they hover over it and for how long? Did they click on it? Did they replay it? For how long? Is it audio? Obviously on YouTube, it'll be automatic. On Facebook, they have to initiate the audio. And did they skip it? Some of the interesting, really meaningful data that you can never ask a question and get is, when did they drop off? You can't ask that question. We can measure it. For example, at 10% of the ad, only 45% were watching on YouTube, whereas on Facebook here, only 17%. And you can see if you have really important information on the ad here, very few people are seeing it. And then what percentage saw 75, 50, 25, 10% of the ad? Really important when you're coming to video. Now we're just going to talk about some of the changes. Our landscape is changing, and this is why we always have to question whatever we're doing. It's really easy to continue to do the same thing over and over again because you feel like it works, because you make it good scores, but our world is changing fast. And if you look at the landscape here, 2015, not that long ago, the duopoly was kind of controlling the ad market between YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. You're looking at over 80%. And now you're looking at this year, it's under 20%. And if you look, for example, Amazon, this is ads now, not e-commerce. Amazon is growing massively, ads, not e-commerce. And then TikTok is also one of the fastest growing ones. And we're just seeing that with the testing. And as far as innovating and being creative, I would say Amazon and TikTok are two very strong innovators in this marketplace. Now we also look at what's going on in the ad revenue, where it used to be almost all social media, big social media. You have Amazon joining the party, but you also see Walmart, Instacart. These are the ones, the next tier of having double-digit growth. And as you can see, the duopoly is not keeping their share. But you look at Walmart, TikTok, and you can see these are streaming, Spotify. The duopoly are down here, big tech, Apple, Microsoft, and then you see retail. Retail's making a big play. I live in Brooklyn half the year and Santa Cruz, California half the year. And when the lockdown happened, I got to know my Amazon delivery person very, very well. And it continued. And that's why I think Amazon is doing such a great job with their ads. So I showed about social media. Now we're going to talk about live in context and the e-commerce space. You're having real behavior. We do the same exact thing. We're able to pull the content live, inject the product in whatever position we want, typically the third or fourth position, and we have people go shopping. So you're getting real consumers and getting real meaningful insights. This is what it looks like. You'll be taking Amazon, search for headphones, type in headphones into search, and add any product of your choice to the cart. So again, they click, and these the worker panel companies who pick people who buy the product or interested in the product or brand. Again, there's no app to download. They don't have to log in. They type in the category, and then the search results come up, and we will inject the test product here, and we ask them to make a purchase. We're going to be measuring attention, interest, and purchase. Attention, how long was this in screen? Especially on a cell phone, there's definitely attention. Did they click and go to the product detail page? That would be interest. And most importantly, they put it in the cart. Now, this is the e-commerce section. We have full control over the page. We can put whatever competitor someone wants next to them. It's a great way to roll out a new product, a new package before you go live, and anyone knows about it. You get clear A/B testing conversion, click-through rates. We have a lot of people are testing, not just A/B testing, but also testing different platforms. You get a combination of both behavioral metrics and articulated responses. You pick who's going to test. It's very fast. And the beauty of this is consumers are shopping without knowing what's being tested. They don't know which product is being tested. Again, we control the whole page. We can, the search results page, the product page, the tiles in the carousel. We do a lot of testing of images on a carousel. The ads on the page. People will do an A/B test with the ad, one cell with the ad, one cell without the ad. They may never click on the ad, but the ad will still influence the purchase, and we can measure that. As I mentioned, images in the gallery, featured bullets. Amazon has best choice. They have all these different tags, deal of the day, whatever, and we can test, does it make sense to buy that? And A+ content. So what we're measuring, the behavioral metrics, again, what we do, not what we say we're going to do. Awareness, time on the product, consideration. And these are questions that you want to ask in the survey after, too. It's very interesting to see what they do, what they say they're going to do. And then, most importantly, purchase. I presented at a Quirks event right after the lockdown stopped with Helen Wolf at Colgate. And there were 6 different ads with very little differences on 3 different platforms. And then we took them all to Amazon. And this is add to cart. This is where we're getting to the point. Took a little time to get there, but how we can measure the success of an ad, how well it drives sales. So the ad will go on the social media site. And when they're done going through the period of browsing, they'll then be taken to e-commerce site. In this example, Amazon. They'll type in the category of the ad they were exposed to, and they'll make a purchase. And then they'll follow up with a questionnaire. This is an extremely powerful tool that brands and market research partners are using to really understand the meaningful value. And this is what it looks like. And I'm going to skip a little bit just to save some time. You have to screen the questions to make sure they're the right people you want. And then you'll be taken to Facebook. And again, the time can be whatever you want. We inserted I-Square headphones. You can see Food Network, Kotaku, and then just so people know, we inserted I-Square headphones. And I'm going to mute this a little bit. They can scroll and do whatever they want. I'm going to move a little bit to here. And after they've done whatever they do there, we're going to take them to Amazon, type in the category, and put product in the cart. And so they'll type it in. And people do this in many different ways. They'll do it with see which platform, which ad performs best on which platform, drives more sales. They'll see how well the ad does versus no ad. They'll test multiple ads on the same platform, and you can see they can scroll, do whatever they want, click on whatever they want, and we're going to be measuring everything. How long was it in screen? Did they do what I'm doing here, go through the carousel? What did they click on? And most importantly, did they put it in the cart? And once they put it in the cart, it goes to the survey. So what are some of the questions we can answer? How does the new ad or the product work in the digital shelf? How can we increase conversion rates? By testing multiple iterations of the ad. And did the paid placements increase sales? Which hero images drive sales? And what's the optimum set of product images in the gallery? Interesting data point. In the carousel, the first image and last image have more time on it than the ones in the middle. Just an interesting fact. And most importantly, what's the IOR, the ROI of the ads I'm paying for? This is a study just showing 4 different ads and a control with no ad. So you're seeing here that they go through the social media with no ad and then go make a purchase. This was ad 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can see ad 3, 33% of the people, after being exposed to the ad on social media, put it in the cart. This makes it a very easy decision to know which ad to run. 10% of them went from the search results page to the product detail page. And you can see that there's a lot of different opinions as what they said, which did better. But again, measuring what they do in an environment where they don't know what's being tested is a very powerful way to know which ads are going to work in marketplace. So you're going to get the behavioral metrics on the ad and the e-commerce ROI, and then all the questions. Questions are all customizable. They can be whatever you want. It really depends on the goal. So by combining behavior and explicit, you're getting real meaningful attention data. We do this all over the world in any language, which is very, very good. We do in China, we do Tmall. You can see the different ones. These are different countries that we run the different studies, and we're constantly adding to this based on request. Someone has a new e-commerce site, and we've also added over 100 regular URLs globally because people have requested to test on them. This is just a simple, I put the numbers here, just give you an example. 2 different ads, ad 1, ad 2. How many people, what percentage of people had it in view? How many people clicked when they were exposed to it and went to search product detail page? And how many people put it in a cart? It's just, it's really a new ad effectiveness currency. You can go through the whole funnel and see what the difference is in the test designs. You can see where one ad lacks conversion power, another one, and you can also find out maybe by the information you learn on both, come up with a third design. So what are the big takeaways? Begin with the end in mind. You have to have your goal. At the end, whatever study you're doing, what is going to make this study win for us? And sometimes it's finding out, for example, a new package versus an old package. A new ad versus an old ad. It may be that the older ad is better. People have to be willing to look at the data for what it is. But begin with the end in mind and know whatever wins, that's what we're going with. So have a clear goal. And pre-testing ads in a natural environment, you're going to get more predictive insights. I want to thank you all very much. I do want to share one little piece because we do have a little more time. I went kind of fast. We are coming out. We're going to be launching very soon. Mobile eye tracking, where you're not going to have to download anything. which is really exciting. I will announce that to everyone. Anyone who's interested can email me or put it in the chat or something, bander@isquared.com. It's easy to find. Very exciting. And we are going to make one change in this, see and understand what online shoppers see. Because what you see, eye tracking is very important to what you see, but it doesn't always say what you're going to do. And lastly, how important ad effectiveness goes beyond what people say they're going to do. So we go through the same, as I showed you, they see it, they go shopping. So there may be a big difference between platforms. And people see this a lot. When the study we did, we presented at Quirks with Colgate, there were 3 platforms, 6 ads, and each platform had a different ad that performed better. So instead of running the same ad on all of them, they had a different ad run on all 3. And a lot of times purchase behavior is a much better indicator on ad effectiveness than just a survey. So the ad recalls are strong on a survey. You can see control versus test. But when you start getting to brand effects, it sometimes is not very clear. You see considerations almost the same. But what they did shows that that's not the case. As you can see here, how many people put it in the cart. There's a big difference between this than this. So that's why getting the behavior is really important, and understanding which ad is going to drive more sales, but also understand how it's going to work through the whole funnel. So I want to thank everybody very much. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, my screen right now is in this mode, so I'm going to have to get out of it to see what the questions are.
Thanks so much, Jeff. That was really great. And congratulations on the upcoming eye tracking tech that's coming out. Really exciting stuff. Yeah, we have just a couple minutes here for questions. So if anyone has any other questions, feel free to pop those in. We can cover them. Question here from Brian. Does this product work on service industry like health insurance?
It can. We have to, our development team, any time we come up with a new platform, the way it works is people come to us and say, can you do this platform? And our development team looks at it. We decide, what are you trying to achieve? What's the goal? Because the goal, by you telling us the goal, is to know whether we can do it to achieve that goal. So we really have to look at them individually. Feel free to send me what you're thinking of, and we'll see if we can do it or not. Yeah. You have to look, because some of them, for example, right now we have a challenge with Instacart because you have to log in to pick stores. So that's the example based on what the goal is. We're not able to do it in this live environment, but no one's asked about insurance yet. We've been phenomenally busy, thank God, because this is something that, as I mentioned, not just we're doing this globally, and we have market research companies, brands contacting us because they want to really know, we're spending tons of money on ads. Is it driving sales? And on eCom too, it's exploded because of what's going on with people buying online.
Yeah. And on that note of your global presence, I think you may have mentioned this already, but do you, since you are conducting in so many different countries, do you conduct in the language of those countries that you're in?
Sure do. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Wow, glad to hear that. And then
over 60 right now. And we have, if anyone's interested, I can give them a list of the countries and the languages.
Wow. Yeah, that's very impressive. Yeah, I think there's a big button on your screen if you're watching that says book time with me. I think if you click that, it'll automatically direct you to Jeff's email address. So that's an easy way to get in touch if you're wanting to do that. Last question here. Do most people test multiple ads or just one at a time?
Multiple of multiples. Give you an example. We're doing a study now with 85 links. It's in 6 countries on multiple platforms and multiple ads.
Wow.
We've done studies with 250 links because people are doing multiple countries. If you're doing an ad in the US and an ad in Germany and an ad in UK and an ad in France, you got multiple languages. The ads are going to be different, and you do multiple platforms. You really have to realize the platform and the ad vary. You can run an ad in the US that does great, but it may not work well in France. It may not work, so you really have to test the language, the platform, the ad.
Yeah. Wow. It's a lot of variables to account for there.
Yeah. Well, you want it to
Yeah.
work. I mean, that's the easy way is just run it everywhere, and then you wonder why sales didn't go up.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, wonderful. Well, we're just like a minute over time, so I'll wrap it up. But thanks so much, Jeff, again for your presentation. And everyone knows how to get in touch with you if they have any follow-up questions. But thanks everyone for being here and have a great rest of your Friday.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.